What is up, everyone? Welcome to, I guess this will be the first episode of Elite Dangerous Revolution. This is more or less just an introduction episode to kind of give an idea to everyone of what it is that I plan on doing with this show, or with this series rather. It's going to be there's going to be various series of different shows that I will be including. The first and the one that I plan on dedicating most of my time to is going to be a series called Path to Power, which will be a show where I start basically from nothing. I'll purchase a new account for that and start with just the usual Sidewinder and whatever money they start out with, and attempt to see how far I can progress in an hour. And then I will cut that down based on, if there's a lot of hopping from system to system or boring things that just take a ton of time, I will actually go ahead and cut that down to a reasonable length. And even if there's excessive combat, I'll probably cut some of that just so that you don't have to sit there through an hour's worth of combat or whatever it is that I happen to be doing at the time. I'll also have a countdown timer to show exactly how much time is left, and if I jump from system to system, that's still going to keep counting down, so you'll see when I come back, or when I come out of fast forward or cutscene or whatever I decide to do with that, you'll see how much time's left. So I'm not going to cheat the system, because I think that if someone is really trying to find out how much they can accomplish in an hour, that you should leave all that in, because it's not realistic. Sometimes I see people with videos that are like, oh, see, I made 120 million in an hour with massacre missions, but they also spent 30 minutes collecting missions and another 10 to 15 minutes traveling, and so by the time it's all said and done, it's probably closer to 2 hours, and it's fine. I mean, not that that's not a lot of money, but I'm just saying that I want it to be real for people. So if I say an hour, then I plan on each episode spending an hour, and wherever I'm at in that hour, I just preferably want to give myself time to get back to base, to cash in bounties or missions or whatever I decide to do at the time. I'll also take requests from people in the community. If someone for some strange reason want to see me doing mining missions or whatever, then I will be happy to do that as well. I just, it's not going to be a particularly exciting episode for people, but I do have, the whole point of Path to Power is to show people, especially newer players, because a lot of veterans in the game more or less know how to get things done, but I still hear from a lot of veterans that they're still working on their first obviously not Anaconda even, but they're still working on a Python, or they're still in a Vulture or something like that. So it's something that I think would be good for a lot of people to see. If you really grind this, what can you do? Starting out from the beginning and working your way up. And I plan on taking the series until I get into an Anaconda with the series, and then I will consider it to be kind of a success. It doesn't mean that the series is going to quit, but that's the goal, is how long will it take in hour-long episodes to get to an Anaconda. The other thing that I think would be good is some tutorials or gameplay videos in the future that won't necessarily be under Path to Power, but just also on the Elite Dangerous Revolution YouTube channel. And that I plan on doing, just kind of alongside the show, just a separate show for that. And then if at some point people think I should be doing streaming, then that might be something I'd consider too. The main thing about this is I can do it on my time, and the problem with streaming is if you're streaming and you want to just jump on and stream, well, a lot of people set schedules for that so they can plan to be there for you and whatever. So who am I? Why am I doing this? My name is Tangent. As I mentioned at the beginning of this show, and I am more or less a podcaster from the, well, I used to do originally like sports and geek genre related podcasts. Then I was doing Magic the Gathering podcast for a few years, and that was, well, it was pretty much how I got known in the community. I have, I don't know, probably like 2,000 Twitter followers, which is nothing these days, but still, considering I haven't really done anything to actively try and gain more, it's not bad. But most of those, unfortunately, most of the followers on Facebook and Twitter are from Magic the Gathering, and so I'm kind of starting fresh here with this. I also created and hosted the Hearthstone Revolution podcast and the noteworthy Black Desert Online podcast. So I was a writer in the Magic the Gathering community on gatheringmagic.com. My series MTGO Hero is still available on there. So I was just trying to give a little background on why I feel like I should be out there doing this. My Elite Dangerous cred, my Steam accounts logged nearly 1,000 hours of Elite Dangerous since I've been playing it for quite a while. I mean, I play it off and on. I come back to it every now and then, but with the engineers and everything that's going on right now, it's really revitalized the game to me. And that's just the Steam account. I actually play a lot of time off the Steam account, so there's more on top of that. I'm not the best pilot in the galaxy, but I am nearly deadly in combat. I don't really try very hard to increase that, so otherwise I would already probably be elite. I'm a tycoon in trading and a ranger, almost a ranger in exploration, but I really pretty much hate exploring, so it's not kind of my thing. I have the rank of Rear Admiral in the Federation. Let's see here. I'll show you a couple of these things here. As you can see, I have over 2 billion in current assets, 2.2 billion in current assets, with over 1 billion of that spent on ships. The rank of Rear Admiral Viscount, I'm at 100%. I haven't flipped that over yet. So, and then, I don't know. There are, as far as engineers go, I have pretty much all of them except for like 4 that I don't really care too much about unlocked, and these are all upgraded to rank 5, or the highest rank they can be. But I've used some of them for upgrading levels or upgrading special abilities, so that's the reason why if they show lower, that's why they're down there. Yeah, so anyway, and then I wanted to kind of give a little background on what I use, so that there are a lot of people out there, I think, that know the game really well and have their things that they use. There's a few that I make regularly available to myself that I like to use to kind of make the game a little easier and more interesting, and I will show those to anyone that may or may not know what they are. The first one, the one that I've been using the most lately, I think, is Inara, which is inara.cz. To anyone who doesn't know, that is one of my favorite tools, because not only do you have it gives you great information. It gives the news and community goals and things like that, which is really cool on the front page here. But you also can create an account, and in this account you can do things like show your fleet and list your fleet, and using something like Coriolis, or Shipyard, ED Shipyard, which I'll get into in a minute, you can put in the information about your ships in here, and it will show that, like, you can look at it any time, or have other people look at your ship so they can see exactly what your ship is. And if you're using ED Shipyard in particular, it's really cool because it even has your engineering bonuses and everything on it. So yeah, anyway, I'll get into that in a minute, but as you can see, I used Hollow Me, which is from the beta for 2.3 Commanders, to make a character that doesn't exactly resemble me, but as close as I can get based on the limited things there. And then this is a little bit of my information. I need to update a few things like my credit balance and stuff, and I actually have a couple more ships that need to go in there. I bought a gunship and an Imperial Eagle to put in there as well. So that, yeah, that's that. There's other things that are cool. It can keep track of your notes and a few other things. Your cargo is kind of nice. If you want to go through and do all the editing of how much cargo you have, you can use that alongside this beautiful tool here. And one of my favorite things about Inara, which is the engineers in here, and say you want to upgrade your multi-cannon, so you can click on Todd, Blaster McQuinn, and you can see in here like what one you wanted to go for, which of course you're going to be going for overcharged would be my guess. And then you've got in here what you need, although it hasn't been completely updated yet because it still shows the commodities, which right now we don't need. But the other things, the information about like what they do, most of it is still pretty accurate. And then if you've input your materials, which I haven't done, and I'll show you why in a few minutes here, but if you input your materials here, it'll show you whether you can actually make them currently. Yeah, so aside from just going through engineers to find that, you can actually just click on blueprints and go to whatever you want to be using and click on that blueprint, and then it will give you all the upgrade possibilities and everything for that. So then you've got other things that are really great about this website, like just even being, say you want to find a ship, well, it's got all the ships and descriptions and things about each one. And then it's also got this search tool here, which you can, let's say, okay, well, since 8A well, we'll take that out of there. Let's say you want to go for beam lasers. So 4A gimbal beam lasers. Where is a good place for that? Alpha Fornicus is in there because that's my home system, so it's already in there already for me. So we'll just say from my home system, and we only want discounts, where are beam lasers? And it'll tell you the closest place and the station distance, which is really cool, whether or not it has a large pad, which is great. And many of you know that EDDB has similar features, but I'm just saying if you're already in Inara, then there's no reason not to just go ahead and use that. To go along with Inara, I did mention being able to put your ships in and everything. This wonderful site called ED Shipyard. Now, ED Shipyard and Coriolis are basically the same thing. This is ED Shipyard, edshipyard.com, and the ED Shipyard is really good because you can add in your ships and everything. I kind of went away from ED Shipyard personally to begin with, just because I don't necessarily love the look of it. And so you can select here your ship, and then from there it'll give you all the drop-down menus for everything to outfit it. I have mine loaded in already, so we'll go to my Revolution 1 Anaconda, and you can see that I've got everything loaded in. And then the great thing about ED Shipyard, as I mentioned before, is there's a little button here where you can edit your engineering, and it gives you some kind of presets to just more or less, if you don't want to take the time to edit every little percentage, you can kind of hopefully use one of these presets to give you approximate values, so it's close even if you don't go with the exact value. And yeah, anyway, so that's pretty much it. And then at the bottom here are your export tools. So if you're going to add this to Inara, it will ask you to get an export, and I prefer go export with stats because it gives you a little extra information that goes to the bottom on your Inara page. But anyway, so you export it, you copy this, you paste it where it tells you to in Inara, and then that adds it to your shipyard or fleet in Inara. So that's ED Shipyard. Now the alternative to ED Shipyard, as I mentioned before, is Coriolis. And Coriolis, I actually prefer the look of quite a bit, actually. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think convenience-wise, ED Shipyard is probably the easier, more convenient of the two. But this site just looks good, and actually looks like it fits in with the with Elite Dangerous and kind of the look that Elite Dangerous has going on. But here you just basically do what you do with ED Shipyard and edit your ship, and then it gives you all these cool statistics along with it, which again you can find them in ED Shipyard. They're just not quite as easy to find as they are on Coriolis here. And then the other problem with Coriolis, and the only reason I don't use it more now, is because it doesn't have anything to do with engineering, so it doesn't really do you a lot of good. You can save this and you can export it to put it into Inara, but because I engineer up and mod all my ship components, or at least as many as I can, I want to be able to include those stats, because these stats are not really accurate for me. But if you don't plan on engineering, or you don't have Horizons, then there's no reason why you can't just use Coriolis. It's still a really great tool, and hopefully at one point they'll put in engineering, even though that's quite a pain in the ass, I'm sure. The next one that I wanted to take a look at, of course, is EDDB. I have tons of love. This isn't in any particular order. Inara is probably my favorite right now, but this is right up there, maybe even the same as Inara, really. EDDB is an incredible tool. It's incredible for so many reasons. Not only can you find ships the same way that you can on Inara, it's a little more complicated because there's actually a lot more that you can do with EDDB. But you say you want to find a ship, well, you just click on stations, and of course it's going to take a little bit to load here. So let's say I want to find a shiny new Federal Corvette, and then you want to, let's say you want an Allegiance, or a Power. You want to get it discounted, so we'll go with this. And you don't even really need to, actually we won't even put that in, because I'll show you that that's not really that important anymore. But yeah, why not? We'll add this in. And so now basically what you're going to search for, let's say, okay, say you want to go with your home system again, just for the fun of it. So you can do that, and it'll show you, okay, 15.79 light years away. There you go. So and obviously everyone's going to want to go to Rate Gateway but in Diagwandri, but yeah, whatever, so this is EDDB. That's just one minor thing it does. Other more important, that's pretty important, but other more important things in my personal opinion is you can jump to bodies and you can select, say you're doing your engineering upgrades and you need arsenic, cadmium, and we'll just say tungsten. What the hell? So you need these for some upgrades. You can put as many of these as you want in, but obviously the more that you put in here, the less options are going to be available for that. So, and then say we're once again in our home system. And so, and then I've noticed, personally, I like to find things on ice planets, because as long as the ice planet is in the light, then the materials that you're trying to find, the rocks or the outcroppings, the meteorites, are all kind of darker, and the really light body of the planet actually makes it very easy to see. So we'll just say icy body with those that's near my hometown. And so if you want to actually get it to where it's in the order that shows you the best or the closest first, then go ahead and click this button here and it will sort them. Okay, so 11.32 away, and you know, that's got respectable enough numbers, but you can go a little further if you want. It's only 24, and it's a little bit higher on the arsenic, but try and find something that gives you like a reasonable chance of being able to get what you're looking for. Seems like the arsenic doesn't really go much past 1.6, 1.7, I guess here, so this is a pretty good one. But then the tungsten is down there quite a ways, so anyway, it doesn't really matter as long as you, oh, here we go, 1.8, 1.5, 1.1. It's 43 away, so that's not too bad. Anyway, that is EDDB. It's got a lot of cool things like that. You can look up stations, systems. You want to find a system that's in Civil War because you want to do some massacre missions, which is what I'm doing right now. Then select Civil War, put in your reference system, and or you can just do like Sol or whatever you want to do. You don't even have to put in a reference system. It can just show you the systems that are in Civil War. If you want them to be systems in Civil War that are specifically Federation because you're trying to build your Federation ranking or whatever, then do that. And if you're looking for donation missions, then put it under Civil Unrest or Famine or something like that. So anyway, that's how you use this. It's really great. Awesome tool. There's also a lot of trading things in here. You can make trading routes and everything, and this is a good way to do it. I don't do that much trading, but this is an amazing way to get that done. And other than that, we'll move on here. We've got one of my favorite tools. This is not a website. This is an actual tool, and this thing's incredible. There'll be a link in the show notes. Links to all these in the show notes, but this is one of my favorite resources since I heard about it. I believe I heard about it on Lave Radio, actually. And this is just incredible. So if you do engineering, then you know what a pain it can be to try and remember exactly what you've got to do, and or what you've got, what you're looking for, how many you need for a certain mat or whatever. So this tool here, as you can see, so show 379 data and 768 materials. And we'll look in here. This might not be updated because I think it went down when I was trying to do okay, 768 materials, 379 data. Okay, good. I did turn it back on before I was out because I was out hunting, collecting a lot of data when I was attacking ships, and I thought for some reason that maybe I didn't have ED Engineer up. So when you're playing, make sure this game is up. When you initially install this, if you're going to use it, when you initially install it, make sure that you go through and edit all of them. It's kind of a hassle, but so as you can see here, I have 379 and I have 768. And so from now, if I do something like, let's say I go through here, we'll look again here at ED Engineer, and I'll show you one cool thing about it. So on this screen here, we'll look at data, and notice there are these black or darker things, and if you hover over it, it says ingredient not used in any blueprint. So you can always hold on to that garbage, but if you do a lot of engineering, then you also realize that, well, I never use these things, or I don't have enough space for all this stuff that I'm trying to collect. Well, now I have unidentified scan archives. Well, I don't want to delete them in ED Engineer. I want to go back in here. So it shows 2. I want to go back into the game, and it's unidentified scan archives, and I will discard those. So now I have none. So now if I go back to ED Engineer, you will see I have none. Because once you initially set it in the beginning, and it takes a little bit to go through and do all these, But once you get them set, as long as you have this running on the same computer every time you're playing, then it will automatically track this for you. So it'll keep track of all your ingredients. Then what can you do with that? So like, who cares if the game already keeps track of it? What do I need that for? Well, simple. You go through here and you can favorite these things or remove them, although if it doesn't update, it seemed to get rid of my favorites. I don't know why that was, but it was down when I logged in and my favorites were gone, which is kind of annoying. I don't know if that's because I accidentally closed it without it having time to save or what, but anyway. So here we go. So this is what you can do with this. So like, say I only want grade 5 right now, and I really just want to know if I have enough for, let's turn all these off because I don't care about every single thing. Let's see if I have enough for grade 5 dirty drive tuning, because that's really what I mean, it's great, right? So thrusters, and you can see here, dirty drive tuning. I am down on a little bit here, and then click on it. It shows you I'm down on cadmium. So I ran out doing all my upgrades and dirty drive tuning recently. But more or less, you get the idea of, you can just select your type, select what you want. You want some beam lasers upgraded to grade 5, and it shows you all the different types and what you can do. Recently used a ton of efficient weapon upgrades, so I don't have enough for that anymore, well, because cadmium again, but I've pretty much got everything else. And this is just an amazing tool. It saves you so much time. What I had done before was gone through and favorited all the level 3, 4, and 5 upgrades that I was planning on using. The level 3 and 4 to get back up to level 5 on the weapons, and then the level 5 because that's the upgrades that I wanted to have. And then so it made it really simple to see, oh, okay, this is what I need, or yes, I have enough to make 20 of these, so I'm good there. And it just makes it a really awesome tool to use. And you can either look at the link in the description or just search for ED Engineer. Not ED Engineers, ED Engineer, and you can find it. And then the last but not least is the ED Wiki. The ED Wiki is, it's a useful tool because you can just type anything in here, like Federal Corvette. I want to look and see what the Federal Corvette has compared to other things, and it tells you all the basic information about the Federal Corvette, how many hard points it has, how many internals, what the maximum upgraded versions are minus any engineering that you might do. It tells you a little information about it. It tells you it does a little kind of community oriented information, like personal opinion stuff in there, which I think is kind of funny for a wiki, but it's alright because a lot of times it'll be like, this is pretty much agreed upon by everyone information. It's information about the factions, information about, let's say you want to know, I need my federal ranks, because we're trying to rank up with the Federation. Well, I'm not anymore because I did get to my Federal Corvette, as you can see, but that is listed here. And so anytime you want information about what it takes to do something in Elite and you can't find it, oh hell, if you type into Google what you're looking for, half the time it'll link you to the Elite Dangerous wiki. So anyway, that's a heads up basically of all of the things I use to do what I do in the game. If I think of anything else, I'll be sure to share it. Just a heads up for anyone new that doesn't already know, or anyone that just wants to look and see what it is I'm doing. So that's pretty much what I've got going on here. I just wanted to give an introduction, let you know a little bit about me, and that I'm relatively legit as far as the amount that I've done and everything. So I think I will let you go, and then in a few days here I will put up my first Path to Power video, so just be on the lookout for that. You'll be able to find these videos on the YouTube channel for Tangent DYN, I believe, which is pretty much what I'm known as on Twitter, Tangent DYN. I will double check the YouTube channel. It's been a while since I've used it. And also, you'll be able to find it on tangentrevolution.com. So that's another way to find it. Right now, that site is pretty bare bones because I've been in between projects and haven't been doing anything. Now it will pretty much be dedicated to Elite Dangerous. So yeah, tangentrevolution.com, you'll be able to find this show and anything else that I want to talk about related to Elite Dangerous. Until next time, I think I am done. Have a great day, and I will talk to you then. Later.